What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Barrel Beer Company, and they are headquartered in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is their Prophetmaker. So this is a double dry hopped pale ale that comes in at 5.2% alcohol by volume, 35 IBUs at the time of review. And this can is approximately 7 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Curtis, for this beer. So huge thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail boxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Curtis sent my way. And he sent me 10 beers in total, 9 of which were from Barrel, which is insane. So I have reviewed a couple beers on my channel from Barrel. One was a whodunit/mystery beer. I think that was their Surf Wax, I believe, which is like their flagship, like West Coast IPA. And then I forget the other one. It was a hazy. It was really good. But outside of that, I've only had a couple other Barrel beers. So I've not been properly introduced to Barrel until now. So I can't thank Curtis enough for hooking it up. And I'm starting with the oldest beer of the beer he sent my way, 7 weeks old, double dry hopped pale ale. I'm here for it. So they're double dry hopping this one with Citra, Nelson Sauvin and Simcoe hops, 5.2%. And I'm hoping it's delicious. You know what is delicious and fantastic and awesome is the label art on these cans. I mean, you got the skull with the gold tongue. I mean, it's just sick label art. It is, plain and simple. I know it really doesn't matter as far as like the beer is concerned, but when you got the whole package, you know, the can, the label art, whatever you're drinking, whatever style that is, if it all comes together, it's a beautiful thing. Now, I will say, I saw pictures of this on Untapped. Some look like an old school, like West Coast pale ale, or like even an East Coast pale ale. Some look like a little bit of a hazy pale ale, and then some just look like that turbid New England pale ale. So I have no idea how this is going to pour out. I'm hoping actually it's a little bit clear. That's what I'm hoping for. So let's see. Let's give it a pour here, and it is. It has a nice. I mean, it's not super like crystal clear or anything. Maybe a gentle haze, but pouring out, it has a pretty good clarity to it. So we'll do something like that. Using my Westbrook glass, I do not have anything glass-wise from. Really from North Carolina in general, let alone Barrel. But yeah, so in the glass, it definitely looks more hazy. So we'll hold that up for you guys. But yeah, it has that gentle haze. And it does definitely looks like more of a West Coast style beer. It has that darker, like golden orange color. You can see like, I don't know. Yeah, you can see like the shadow of my hand, but you're not making out anything else. Now I hold it up to the light. Yeah, it has a gentle haze. There's a gentle haze for sure. I can see the shadow. I can make like an outline of my hand, but it's not crystal clear. Has almost a 2-finger of a bright white, soap sudsy looking head. It looks like it's gonna hang around. There's some decent carbonation on the beer as a whole. One more look for you guys. Yeah, I think it looks really nice in the glass. I would say in person compared to camera, on camera it's a little bit slightly darker. In person, it's a little bit more of like a golden color as opposed to like that golden orange color, but it's close enough. It's good nose. Ooh, 7 weeks old and still smells absolutely fresh. This is giving me old school vibes for sure. So despite the fact they're using Citra, Nelson, and Simcoe, now Citra, Simcoe are classified now as like old school hops for sure. Nelson, not as old school, but this is giving me that old school citrusy bouquet of like just the all-encompassing citrus fruit. So you're getting like orange juice, grapefruit juice, but then the pith, the rind. I say this a lot in a lot of reviews for older school beers. That's kind of what's happening here. That Nelson's providing like more of like a gooseberry white wine thing, not white grapes, more of like a white wine, like almost like I smell like this is going to have that white wine dryness. And I know that sounds stupid, and it could be. It probably is, but that's what I'm smelling here. It is a pale ale, so I'm getting an underlining like I want to say more of like a bready, biscuity, grainy kind of malt character. Little bit of that cattiness from the Simcoe. It's not too big though. I'd say it's more of like a dankness here. A little bit of a like resinous pine as well. Touch of an underripened peach or like say peach or apricot. Definitely stone fruit heavy. Yeah, now here's the thing. If you, and I always gotta say here's the thing, at least once review. Here's the thing, twice. If you handed this to me, say, mid to late 2010s, I'd probably be blown away by the nose of this because for a 5.2% double dry hop pale ale, Tons of aromatics here. Smells absolutely great. Citrus, stone fruit, a little bit of that white wine character, a touch of dankness, resinous pine. You get the malt character, which I think is always essential for a pale ale. I want to have a little bit of that malt character. For me, I can tell the difference between a pale ale and an IPA if that malt character is a little bit more present, because in a lot of IPAs, the malt character does not exist. It's a prop for all the hop goodness. Like, it just carries it along. This smells really nice. Does it smell like amazing? No, but it smells really good. And it smells still quite fresh at almost 2 months old. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. And thanks again, Curtis. Cheers. Very, very nice. First thing you can tell is this has a nice punch of bitterness. And on top of that, it does have a pretty firm dryness. Very well balanced off of that first sip. And I would say this has a little bit more hop character leaning towards the resinous pine, the dank, almost slightly kind of like sprucey, almost like evergreen kind of vibe. Nice. One more sip. Buying this is just under medium, maybe approaching medium, 5.2%. It's fine. Would I like it a little bigger? Probably. Is it going to happen? It is not. Fine by me. The mouthfeel is old school through and through to me. Has a nice moderate carbonation here. It's not super effervescent, but it does have a nice crisp kind of feeling on the palate. Second half of the palate is very smooth going down, easy to drink. This has not really much softness or creaminess or anything, but I didn't expect that after the pour and after smelling it and everything. So I think the mouthfeel is very appropriate, while the body may be a bit thin, but it kind of works in a 5.2% double dry hop pale ale. Forefront of the palate is, again, that grainy, kind of biscuity, bready malt character. I don't know when I'm going to post this. I think I'm going to post this the day after I do the citrus pils from Genesee. And that being a Pilsner, this being a pale ale, but they have very similar, I feel like, malt bills to them, because this is very similar in the respect of that it's omnipresent, front to back, but it's just propping up the hop character, where that one was propping up the citrus character. This one definitely is noticeable, but it's not a predominant note, which is beautiful, but it's noticeable, which, again, for a pale ale, I want to see. The flavors, though, the nose carried over to almost a tea. Lots of citrus character in this one. Orange, grapefruit. There's even a little bit of like a zesty lemon, but it encompasses the entire fruit. So you could say orange juice, more of a ruby red grapefruit juice, but then you're getting the pith, you're getting the rind, the bitterness from those citrus oils and everything else. Halfway through the palate, the peach sneaks in. The peach and the apricot sneak in, and they're underlying. So they have like a little bit of like, it's almost like a slightly tart peach, but definitely underripened, not overly sweet. And then on the finish, resinous pine plus a little bit of a dank character, a little bit of that touch of that cattiness you get from Simcoe. And then it has, again, evergreen, sprucey. It's more like pine heavy. It's like being in a forest to some degree, maybe even a touch of grassiness. And now I'm thinking that the Nelson isn't providing to me much of like fruit character, but that dryness is very firm. It's like I'd say almost bone dry. And it reminds me of like a white wine dryness. You get a very dry white wine. That's kind of similar. So maybe that's where the Nelson influences come in, or just making my mind think it's like that. This finish is moderately bitter. So the one thing that this has going for it is that if you're somebody who likes a little bit more of a drier and bitter pale ale, this is the one for you. It's not overly sweet to begin with, but that dryness and that bitterness on the finish really, I think, brings everything together in a perfect, cohesion. It's a harmonious cohesion. It just is. It's a beautiful kind of balance to the beer, which I think you kind of want in a style like this. The one thing I will say about this one, it is not blowing my mind. It is not. But it's a very easy drinking pale ale. This is the quintessential, like, put it this way, Burial, I don't know how, we'll talk about price point availability momentarily, but I don't know how this is in terms of availability from them specifically. But if this is something you could get on at least a rotating basis, then this would be one, if I live close to the brewery, I might buy a 4-pack every single time they release it, just to have in the fridge when I want something lower ABV, very flavorful, and has a beautiful balance. That's kind of where I would leave this one. It's a very well-made, nice double dry hop pale ale. Not, singing from or screaming or saying anything from the rooftops about this beer, but at the same time, I respect the quality that I can tell this beer exudes when I drink it. So, we're gonna finish up this review by pouring the rest in here. I didn't really show you the glass icing, but I think you can tell based on the new camera and everything. The glass icing is pretty fantastic, if we're being honest. I mean, I kind of poured it up, but I mean, it's good. It's lacing up quite well. So rating, I'm not going to go crazy high. You might be surprised that I'm going a little bit lower than you probably anticipate, just because, again, it's not blowing my mind. It's just a very well-made double dry hop pale ale, so I can't, go too high on it. But I think it's a really nicely done beer. So Prophetmaker from Burial. I am going to give this beer right here, my friends. I'm going to give this a high 4 out of 5. I go 4.1. I think if I took the label into consideration, I'd probably get a 4.2 to maybe a 4.25. But as is, it's just really nice. And I love that skull. I wish this was a little bit better, like a 4.3 or higher, because I'd probably put this behind me on pretentious wall of bottles and cans because I just love the label art so much. So yeah, really, really tasty beer. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And anyway, price point availability. I did look on their website. They still have this one available. Here's an issue with this. $17 a 4-pack. That's $4.25 a can straight from the brewery. $4.25 for this is a bit pricey. Just being 100% transparent with you. I would want to see this in the $14 to $15 realm, maybe $16 at most. $17 is a bit pricey. Now the double dry hopping, they use Citra, Nelson, Simcoe. I know probably costs. They're probably not robbing the consumer, so to speak. They're probably appropriately pricing this, but it's just tough to pay over $4 a can for something that's 5.2% and that tastes like this. And what I mean by that is just a nicely well done pale ale. I would like to see this at least $1 cheaper, if not a couple bucks cheaper, but can't always get what you want. So $17 a 4-pack, right straight from the brewery. I don't know if it makes distro how much more it would be locally or even wherever a Burial gets distro. And then availability, I don't know as far as, again, it's on their website. You can order straight from the website. They do deliver to a lot of different states, including New York State. One of the few breweries that actually are outside of New York State that deliver to New York State, which is cool. I will place an order with them at some point in the future. Probably not this year, or if I do later this year, because Curtis hooked it up with so many cool beers. But if they're on your list, or if you're on their list in the state, of all the states they list, check them out. Burial makes some good stuff based on what everybody has said. This is the third official beer that I'm reviewing on the channel, and probably the 5th or 6th total I have tried, and they are quality through and through. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. I say that in every review because it's part of my shtick, but it's also the honest to God truth. If somebody has had this beer and they happen upon the review, I'd like to know what you thought about it, because what I think about it is what I think about it, but I want to hear what you think about it. And I don't know if by the time I reviewed this one, if Curtis actually posted Untapped check-in of this one, because he purposely refrained from doing so for most of the Burial beers, so I wouldn't be hip to him sending me mostly Burial beers. But I would hope he agrees with me. Who knows? Maybe he loves this one more than I do. Maybe he didn't like it as much, but I'm curious to see what he thinks about it. But yeah, it's a really good beer, and I do enjoy it. 5.2%, you really can't tell. So I'm going to go drink the rest of this off camera. I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Huge thanks to Curtis once again for this beer, and we got a lot more Burial going on going forward. I'll probably review one per week. Probably take me a good 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks to review everything. Got a bunch of lagers, got a couple more hop forward beers, got a big old imperial pastry stout. It's going to be a fun time over the next couple months reviewing all these Burial beers. So I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate it. Till the next one. Cheers.